Hi guys. Thank you for coming to today's session. So today's first of all, actually, let me go over group confidentiality and the ground rules. So for this group, which is over self-care, this is a self-care self-help group. You have to be a graduate student because we're all grad students and we all are under a lot of stress. Um, Please stay the full meeting time if possible. And please be respectful to everyone. Allow everyone time to talk, show them respect and kindness. Let everyone have time to contribute. And please, as always, because of confidentiality, don't discuss anything within the group, outside of the group, to anyone who is not a group member. And try to make sure that it stays within this group. Does anybody have any questions about the ground rules? Okay, so self-care is something that is extremely important. It's how we take care of ourselves, not only physically, but mentally, and how those things kind of work together to make us feel better, make us feel more like ourselves, and just help us really de-stress. Um, with that, I want to ask the question, what are some self-care techniques that you guys utilize in whatever order you want to go?
Um, well, I have recently been starting to um, go to the gym a lot more. I try to do at least 3 times a week going to the gym and exercising. I also like to read, and I also do adult coloring books every once in a while. Um, those are just some of the things I've been doing recently.
Okay, all right. I kind of like the idea of the adult coloring books because I do those too, and I think that they're a really good technique to use, and they're very relaxing for the most part.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've gotten kind of bad about keeping up with self-care things recently. I used to do a lot of things, but then grad school happened and I feel like I have no time anymore.
I can
But
understand.
I also like reading. I feel like I only read textbooks anymore, but I do like reading. I I have 3 dogs and they're probably my biggest form of self-care, just like coming home and petting on them or snuggling up with them, taking them on walks is my biggest form of self-care. Something I've been trying to do, I've been really bad and haven't been doing it consistently, but I have a list of a lot of shows and a lot of movies that I would like to watch, but again, I just don't really have time. But I try to at least once every couple of weeks plan out time to like sit down and watch a couple episodes or like watch that movie or something. But again, I'm not consistent with that one.
I can understand that. Life gets busy sometimes, so we kind of all have to kind of schedule things out. And I think that's okay to have self-care that is scheduled. Like I think that, it's different for everybody and it's okay to have to make it at a time when it's convenient for you. Mhm.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree.
How about you, Greg?
Oh, I like to take my 80-pound German Shepherd Hank a walk every day. I like to sit down and watch football when I can and then go shopping and buy tennis shoes. I have a whole collection of them. So
It's okay. I have a whole collection of shoes too. I understand.
they're not cheap anymore.
Oh no, they are not. Um, okay, so it seems like we all have something that we do for self-care. A little bit of self-disclosure on my part is that I am a writing nut. I am constantly writing. You'll see me with a little notebook and a pen, constantly. Or like, like you guys have said, I also have a dog and I spend a lot of time with her. We go for walks. So anything to de-stress. I try to do it, so I'll try anything. And I think that with self-care, we have to be kind of open because we might find something that we never imagined could help us or something that we never imagined could be self-care. And we need to give it a try at least once. So I think it's really good that you all have something that you guys can do that's, helping you. So the next thing I want to do is a self-care technique, like teach you guys about it. So one thing that we're gonna do, in the self-care aspect is something that we can do is daily intentions. So this is daily intentions practice where you'll wake up in the mornings or even just in the middle of the day and you'll be sitting somewhere or standing doing whatever you're doing and you just look at, you could be looking in a mirror and you just tell yourself, I am intelligent or I can do this. A lot of times we're so negative and we say things like, I can't do this, or I, don't think that I am strong enough to do this, different things like that. And we're very negative. So I would like for us to try a couple of daily affirmations, I guess, in whatever order you want to go. Just say something positive about yourself or something along those lines. Anything that will make you feel better about yourself.
Self-affirmations or something, I definitely don't do that often, but like I'm trying to think. So, uh, positive things about myself usually looks like when I do self-affirmations, I like to remind myself of like accomplishments that I have made rather than like telling myself something good, if that makes sense. So like I'll look in the mirror and be like, hey, I bought my first house at 23. Like whenever times get hard, I'm like, well, you did this, like you did that. So one of my affirmations would be, you bought a house at 23, like you can do this, or like you're in grad school, you can do this. Like just think about all you've done. As far as
That
like, sorry, you can go on.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
As far as like positive affirmations about myself, like like more direct at myself, I would say I one would that I would use would be like, yeah, your intelligence, you figured it out this far in life. Like you got these big accomplishments, so you can
Mhm.
figure it out.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome. And congratulations on your house, by the way. But I think it's awesome because, those still count. You're still doing something positive. You're doing, amazing things and you're telling yourself that you are, and that because those are some pretty incredible things. Just getting up every day is an incredible thing. So to have a house by the age of 23, that's awesome. It really is.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Well, something positive for me is I'm going to get this assignment accomplished today, and I didn't know if we was ever going to be able to pick a time and get it done. So that's one thing I'm going to accomplish today.
That's still an accomplishment. It's still still a positive thing.
Yeah, because I didn't know if I'd ever get the Zoom turned on. So that's me figuring out. I'm not very techy, so me figuring these things out is an accomplishment for me.
Yeah, and I think that's a good positive affirmation that you are tech savvy in maybe not, you may not think you are, but you did it and, you know, that's what matters.
I don't mind asking for help either.
Well, I mean, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
Anything that's positive that you can say about yourself.
I got good drive.
Yeah. How about you, Caitlin?
One that I tend to try and do a lot is I'm someone who's constantly like scared of not being good enough in like every aspect of life. So I tend to just be like, I tend to say, well, you are good enough. Look at what you've already accomplished. Um, I also feel like I'm a very kind person. So I tend to be like, well, you're a kind person. That obviously goes a long way with other people because you never know what other people are going through.
Exactly. Those are some really good affirmations. I especially like how you said, even though, you may not feel like it or you have a hard time with it, you're still telling yourself that, all these good things about yourself. And that's really important, because if we tell ourselves that we're not good enough or that we're not doing something how we should be, then we're going to start believing it, because our brains just work that way, and we just start to feel like, we start to believe all those negative things. So those are some really good examples of, positive affirmations. Um so when it comes to self-care, people tend to think that it's just, you know, for women, they imagine them with face masks on and just, sitting in a tub, or watching a movie or things like that. But self-care isn't just the physical things that you do for yourself. It's also the mental and emotional things you do, like whether you just take a step back and you do some deep breathing exercises, or you take a moment and you step back from the crowd and you just do a lot of thinking, and even talking to yourself about how you're feeling, like, okay, I can do this, things are fine, it's just a little bump in the road, it's not, a big crack, or things like that, or even just journaling, or anything that helps you to feel more like yourself and help you feel less stressed, and kind of make you feel more human, can be self-care. What are some techniques that you guys would actually like to try when it comes to self-care to make yourselves feel less stress and make yourselves feel better, besides the ones that we've mentioned that you already do? What is something else that you can do? It doesn't have to be physical, or like the sitting with a mask on your face or anything like that. Just what's something else that you can do?
You
Journal.
actually reminded me earlier. I used to write all the time. Like I used to, that was like I did that more than I read. I used to write all the time, and I wish that I still did that. Like I feel like now I write these papers for school, and then I'm like, well, I'm tired of writing now. But I would like to plan more time, or manage my time and plan time to just free write or do whatever or write whatever.
Yeah, so you miss writing, and you think that it would be beneficial to you if you could, like, map out time to do it.
To write what I want to write instead of writing
Yeah,
papers.
yeah, I can understand that.
Mine is journaling. I want to get back to journaling more. Kind of see what I do each day, what I can improve on, where my weaknesses are.
Yeah, I think that that's a good one too. A little more self-disclosure. I tend to do that because I think that it's good to be able to look back and see what you've done and be proud of yourself. And I think that that's also a form of self-care, just being able to be proud of yourself. So, I think that's a good one. I like that one. How about you, Caitlin?
Um, I mean, I would also do journaling. I know I used to do it all the time, like before college, but um, I feel like getting back into journaling and just, writing down my thoughts and my feelings would really help kind of release those like negative things.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that's really important is being able to just get rid of all the negativity. We can't get rid of it completely. There's no hope for it just completely disappearing. But being able to kind of get rid of some of it just enough that you can function like a normal person and have a good life, I think that that's some very good self-care that we as people need to try and need to, be able to utilize. So yeah, those are some really good ones. So I want to do another self care technique. This one is more like for de-stressing. And I'm gonna call it the breaths of four. So what you do is you breathe in for 4 breaths, and then you're gonna hold it for 4 breaths, and then you release it. And this while you're doing this, counting in your head to 4 each time. So I'm gonna give you guys like a minute to do that, and then we'll talk about it. So if you guys want to go ahead. Okay. So how did that make you guys feel? Do you guys feel like, you know, more relaxed, or how does it make, how did it help? Did it help? Did it not help? What do you guys think?
I found
I
it to
think
be very calming. Uh, the it kind of makes you stop for a moment and kind of forces you to clear your mind almost in a way because you are focused on the breathing and the counting. And I think that's a nice way to kind of ground yourself and just kind of let go of your worries for a second.
Yeah, and I can agree with that. Before we go any farther, I just want to let you guys know we only have just a couple minutes left, so we can finish up with our final thoughts. But who wants to go next?
um I found it very relaxing. It really helps me like to focus on my breathing because I know I don't really ever focus on my breathing, but it helps relax me and just be calmer.
Yeah, and I'm glad that it did that for you, and I think that it is a really good technique to use. So, how
Now,
about you, Greg?
breathing's something you take for granted until there's things that happen and anxiety kicks in or anything like that, and breathing just doesn't come normal like it usually does. You take it for granted.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can understand that. That's true. I think we definitely take our breathing and being able to breathe for granted way more than we should. Um, okay. I think, that was a really good little technique that we did. Does anybody have any questions before we end the session, or any concerns or any thoughts about what we did?
No, this is just a good, I guess, yes, this is just a good reminder that we all need to kind of just take some time for ourselves. It sounds like we all need to take some more time for ourselves, but I don't know about you guys, but grad school's kind of taken over my life. So
Oh yeah.
sometimes it's hard to like just remind yourself that you got to stop and take a moment when we all need it, especially especially us. We need.
Oh yeah. And I would encourage you guys to try to find time to take some time for yourself and just exist, even if you have something that you have to do, just take a step back and just do something that you enjoy. And I want to thank you guys for being here for the session and for participating. And I hope you guys have a great day.
Thanks.
Thank you.